First, we're going to open Adobe Bridge. Then click on a raw image you want to edit. If you want to edit more than one photograph, you have the ability to hold down Shift and select multiple images that are in a row. If multiple images you want to use aren't in a row, you can select each individual image by holding down Command on a Mac. I'm going to go ahead and select one of the images and then right-click. Then click on Open in Camera Raw. Your image will now appear in Adobe Camera Raw. If you realize you opened the wrong photo, you can click Cancel in order to close out. The first thing I'm going to do is change the direction of the film strip. If you have multiple photos selected, they will appear here. By right-clicking on this icon, you have the option to change the film strip vertical and horizontal. I'm going to change mine to vertical, and you can also change the panel size by dragging it to the side. Next, you want to make sure the image is 16-bit and 360 ppi. You can check this by looking at the bottom of the application. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. The first thing you want to do is set up your color space. For your space, you want that to be Adobe RGB 1998. Then for depth, change it to 16 bits. Often this will be 8 bits, but make sure to change that. Lastly, under sizing, you want to double check your resolution. Make sure it's 360 pixels per inch. Then click OK. To the right of the application, you will see a set of tools. These are your global tools, meaning that they will alter the entire photo, while these are your local tools, meaning they will only edit a selection of your photograph. Starting with the global tool, we will start with the basic panel. By clicking on the arrow, the panel will open up. There are many options that Adobe Camera Raw offers. The first thing you will see is the profile option. This is a great option to get a starting base for your image. You can click on whichever one is related to your image, such as portrait and landscape. Next is the white balance option. Your white balance is extremely important. The first thing I like to do when it comes to white balance is selecting the eyedropper tool to the right. After that, you're going to click on a spot of your image and where the purest white should be. This will correct your white balance. After that, you'll still have the ability to adjust your temperature and the tint of your photograph. So, for example, if you wanted your image to have a warmer tone, you can warm up the temperature. If your image is over or underexposed, you can fix your exposure here. However, you cannot rely on this adjustment option. You still need to get the proper exposure when you're shooting your image. If your image overall has good exposure, but your highlights are slightly blown out, you can use the highlight slide to adjust the brightness. By doing this, you'll gain more details back into your highlighted areas. A tip I have for you is to look up at the histogram and click on the black triangles that are in the corner. Your image gets red spots when your highlights are blown out. If you don't see any, that means that your image have no blown out highlights. Similar to highlights, the histogram has this option for shadows as well. The red spots are where you begin to lose detail in your shadows. If your shadows in your image are too dark, you have the option to lighten and bring the details back to your shadow. The white and the black slides are very similar to the highlight and shadows. However, with the white and the black sliders, you simply lighten and darken your image, while highlights and shadows bring back the details of your image you may have lost in these areas. The next slide is texture. This helps bring forward the edges of your details. This is helpful if you have an image that already has a lot of texture and you want to emphasize that. It can also make a texture more subtle and make it more smooth. Clarity helps you sharpen your image. It takes the midtones of your photographs and enhances them. You always want to add 10 clarity to your image. Dehaze is used if you want to add or remove atmospheric haze from your photograph. For example, if you took an image at a concert that had low-lying fog, you can use dehaze to enhance or smooth the haziness of the image. Vibrance and saturation are used to decrease and increase the intensity of color. However, saturation focuses on colors that are already saturated, while vibrance also works with the mid-tone colors. When wanting to intensify color or decrease color, use the vibrance slider rather than the saturation. In this video, you learned how to edit your images in Adobe Camera Raw Basic Panel.